Welcome back to GM Details and to part 2 of the Skoda Kamiq ceramic coating video, where in part 1 I showed you what my methods were to clean and decontaminate a dealership prepared car in order to polish it, and in this video I'll be taking you through my process in taking the car looking like this to this. So go grab a beverage, sit back and enjoy. At the end of the last video I was drying the car, finishing up day 1 of cleaning, a full chemical and mechanical decontamination, which actually took me 7 hours. It won't take you that long as I'm moving around cameras, taking notes with coffee breaks, but it'll give you some sort of idea as to timescale. You should probably allow a good 4 to 5 hours at least for a decent thorough decontamination clean. So on to the polishing stage. Now I'm using my Rupes Bigfoot 15mm throw dual action polisher, Rupes polishing pads, which is one of the least abrasive, and paired with the Ferrecla G3 Pro new polish, which is designed for the DA user. The ceramic coating I'll be applying is called Helios by KARCHER Therapy. It's their new 12-month coating that's meant to be extremely user friendly. This is a pre-production tester they sent me to try out, that's why it doesn't have a label on it, but more about that later in the video. As you'll know from previous videos, I'm not a professional detailer or valeter. I'm a keen detailing enthusiast and make these videos to share knowledge across the YouTube platform for like-minded enthusiasts like yourself. I pick up information from social media as well as professional detailers. I try it out, and if it works for me, then I integrate it into my techniques and share it with you as entertainment, or you might learn something from it, which is brilliant. So car cleaning is one thing, but the world of polishing and ceramic coating is lower down on my skill set. So if you have any constructive comments or feedback to make, then please do leave a comment below. So with that disclaimer out the way, I started the day off by measuring the paint all around the car. Now this little gauge is just a guide. It gives a rough idea of the thickness of the paint on metal panels, but remember, paint is made up of colour and clear coat, and you're only polishing the clear coat. Only an experienced detailer will tell you when you're running low on the clear coat before you're burning through, but here's a little tip. Measure the doors and then the outside. The insides of the doors or the bonnets generally get the least amount of paint and often less clear. So if the insides are less, then it can sometimes give you a rough indication as to how much clear you have to play with, but not always. So this little gauge was around £30, and it suits my needs really, as it's only for my personal use. Protecting pieces of trim, handles and badges etc. with low tack masking tape is a good idea too. It protects these areas from the backing plate that might accidentally bump into these areas. Just remember though that you might want to open the door at some point, so don't go mad with the tape. Black trims are almost always covered to save the pads from picking up rubber residue on the pads. You'll need a good supply of new or your best microfiber cloths you have. For polish removal, I find it's best to use quite a low pile weave like these Valet Pro 300 GSM general purpose cloths. You get 6 cloths per pack, which works out at £1.33 a cloth, which isn't bad value. So finally onto the machine polishing. I know a good many of you watching this will be keen to pick up some tips, and the other half will be cringing at using a polisher outside in the elements, but I don't have the luxury being in a double garage or a workshop, and I find a gazebo just that little bit claustrophobic for me, so outside in the elements it is. Luckily I've got a nice day. It's cloudy, less than 10% chance of rain and very little breeze, so these are ideal conditions for me doing my own or a family member's car, and I was assured that the ceramic coating can be applied outdoors too, so let's crack on with it. This area I'm doing is a test area to see if the pad and polish combination deliver a decent result. This is the G3 dual action fine polish, and these pads are for fine polishing too, so I really am not expecting much over a paint cleanse and additional gloss, as the paint is in reasonably good condition anyway. There's a couple of minor scratches here and there with what looks like an airline that's been over the car to inflate a tyre, but we'll take a look at that a little later on. So the pad and the polish combination work well together, so no need to change anything. If you were chasing perfection, you'd try 2 or 3 sections with maybe 2 or 3 combinations, but that's way advanced and not what I'm aiming for here, as the car won't be pampered and most likely see an occasional roadside car wash, so a gloss enhancement is enough. So tip 1 is the size of the polishing set you're about to do. You should aim for your polisher to work in area roughly 2.5 to 3 times squared the size of the pad you're using. So I've gone a little bit over here, but as long as I'm not trying to do a whole panel with 4 pea-sized drops of polish, I should be okay. Really, for a bonnet, dividing it into 6 sections would be a good guide. I'm working to Todd from Esoteric Auto Detailing Channel's proven method that you don't need to prime the pads or start off with a slow set speed and ramp up the power later. He has the proof to back up the theory that it's just a waste of time and you can get better results without the faff by going in with a set speed and completing 2 or 3 sets depending on how the polish is reacting, of course. If you want to watch that video, I'll link it below for you to check out. It's quite interesting. The Ferricla G3 Fine Dual Action Polish was a real pleasure to use. I preferred using it to the G3 all-in-one polish I used in the red KARCHER series. It lubricated the pad very well and I didn't once notice any dusting with it whatsoever, so I'll definitely be using this one again in the future. After I've polished the right side of the bonnet, I went to get my light to check for any holograms or swirl marks, but could only find this LED inspection lamp, which was pretty useless, and I gave up with it and continued on. So this was the result when I had finished the bonnet. So anyway, I've got the rest of the car to get on with before I can crack open that ceramic coating, so here's a quick montage of the 5 hours worth of polishing before I move on to the coating after the break. I mentioned earlier there was a few scratches on the car which seemed like a hose of some description had been dragged over it. I'm going to see if I can improve the look of them with the G3 polish, but change the pad to a Eurofiber microfiber pad, which has 2 different grades of microfiber in it and a shorter nap than a standard microfiber pad. You can see here the polish is clear while you work it, and that's designed so that you can keep an eye on the defects as you work and see the progress of the cutting ability of your pad. The first set hasn't done too bad a job of removing the scratch, but it is still just a little bit visible, so I'll just give it another set with the mini dual action polisher. Okay, so it's not perfect, but I don't have the luxury of chasing every single defect on the paint. It's a marked improvement from what it was to now. Plus, the ceramic coating has filling capabilities, so that should improve it even further. The last stage before applying any protection is to go over the car with a panel wipe. This is a bit like what those cleaning wipes do for your glasses. It cleanses the paint from any debris, hand oils and even any fillers that might have been in the polish. It also removes polish residue too, so if you've missed some of it, it's well worth going over before a wax, a sealant or in this case a ceramic coating. Application couldn't be any simpler. It's just a case of spray it on, wipe with a general purpose microfiber cloth and the product flashes off, leaving a perfectly clean surface for your protection to bond to, which should help whichever protection you've chosen to last that bit longer. Introducing Helios, a new 1-year true ceramic coating from Garage Therapy to complement their longer lasting coatings and to give the enthusiast a choice between using a water-based spray protection or to move on to a more durable protection without the need for a professional installation. To apply the coating, you wrap one suede cloth around the block, holding it with your fingers, and apply a double line of product onto the cloth just to prime it. You only need to do that the once. Any other time you use it, just add 6 or 7 drops. Apply the coating in a crisscross hatch method, which helps level and catch any areas the coating might miss. Wait a minute or two, then with a low pile microfiber cloth like a pearl weave, level out the coating to remove any high spots, and when you're happy with the finish, move on to the next section. Simples. I wanted to see what the slickness was like after a few minutes, so I got a brand new plush buffing cloth, and it was indeed smooth as silk. But I noted something else, and that was how silent the cloth was over the panel. Have a listen. You can apply this coating a lot easier than some waxes and sealants that I've used. I was really starting to enjoy the process after the initial nerves, but seeing the gloss boost was just so infectious. But I did start to wonder if I was doing something wrong, as it just seemed too easy. Obviously not all ceramic coatings are designed to be as user friendly as this one, and I do urge you to do some homework on any product you're thinking about buying. You can get into real trouble with ceramic coatings if they're applied in the wrong circumstances or possibly the wrong application method. I don't know what's gone wrong, but these ceramic coatings. I've taken a few clips off YouTube just to try and illustrate that care and attention to instructions is a must for application, because to correct any of these issues could be very expensive. So Garage Therapy Helios is 100% approved for applying outdoors by anyone at any level of experience. If you can read instructions and follow the prep advice, I don't imagine there to be too many problems. It took me a little over an hour to coat the entire car, and I used just under half a bottle of the coating. I possibly went a little too heavy with the product, but for my first time I don't think that's too bad. Is it for you? Maybe not if you really enjoy the process of waxing your car monthly or always applying products to it. A ceramic coating needs to be left alone initially to properly bond to the paint, then it'll be easier to clean, but you'll be wasting your time waxing over it or applying things like gloss enhancing shampoos or ceramic sealants every wash. But if you want to enjoy a long lasting UV and chemical resistant protection on your car, which will just make your life a lot easier, then it's worth considering. Just look at the final results. I'm not going to show you any sheeting or beading, as it's best to keep it dry for as long as you can, which isn't easy living in Scotland, I can tell you. I'll be following up with some cleaning videos of the coating, including one with optimum no rinse. So if you want to see that video, subscribe to the channel so you'll get a notification when that video is uploaded. So I hope you've enjoyed this two-part series on my experience with applying a ceramic coating for the first time. Thank you to Garage Therapy for sending the coating as a gift from my mum's new car. It's much appreciated. And as always, thank you for watching, thank you for all the support, and as always, I'll put the links to the products used in the video below for you to check out at your leisure. I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care and happy detailing. Cheery bye.